Hey everyone, Amanda Dumas here. Third try doing my live for Amanda Answers Thursdays at 3 in the Enamored with Nature Local Education group. I think it's just some internet issues or something. Anyhow, fabulous message that I feel like I need to share with you guys. It's mostly concerning pregnancy. And I have about 3 friends that are just on the forefront of my mind. One first-time mom pregnant with twins who has specific issues, a second-time mom with specific issues of nightmares during sleeping, and then a third friend of mine who's becoming a doula and has several people under her care that I know have special issues specifically about pregnancy. So if this isn't something that you're currently into or interested in, you probably have a friend at church or at the market or someplace in your lovely family or community that you know might benefit from this. So do feel free to share. They would just jump into the Facebook group called Enamored with Nature Oil Education, and they get to go from there learning all the good things. So I have 5 children. 3 of them are my tummy children. 2 I got as a bonus when I married my husband. So my younger 3, my first pregnancy, I really thought I was super healthy, and it was the beginning of my journey into a lot of more natural DIY type things where I decreased the amount of toxins in my home that went on my skin and all those sorts of things. Second pregnancy was more successful because I at least did know more about like what real nutrition was, but third pregnancy is where I actually had the support of a really well-rounded wellness routine through doTERRA, and I had all of these resources to be able to mitigate some of the typical pregnancy issues. And I want to share just a handful of them today. I'm specifically talking about third trimester kind of pregnancy issues. I would like to talk about labor and birth on its own, and like postpartum care on its own, and then also caring for babies and how to use essential oils for them. That would be kind of, again, on its own. And I have lots of experience with those things as well, but I'm going to focus just on a couple big game changers for when you're in the thick of it in the third trimester, as your body has gained, you know, like twice the amount of weight that it was gaining all along, and it's really, you know, that babe is growing. So typically what I felt myself experiencing was extra sore muscles or like a lot of the ligament pain and things like that. White fir and geranium were my saviors. I tended to avoid deep blue and peppermint, which are easy go-tos. In fact, I kind of recommend the deep blue and the peppermint as the easiest go-to for any kind of soreness. I tended to not use it because the peppermint, I believed, would reduce my milk supply, and I wanted to not have that be an issue because I was still nursing at that time, he was under 2. They ended up being 1 day less than 2 years apart. So my son Marcus turned 2 the day after Malachi was born. Anyway, so because the nursing was still going on, I didn't want to reduce my supply. I stayed away from deep blue or past tense and peppermint, and so I went for Siberian fir and for geranium for a lot of my different, you know, realms of support. At that time, I didn't know about Aroma Touch. I really wish that I had known about Aroma Touch. That would probably be one of my #1 go-tos. I did discover it later because of some extra issues that I was having with the hemorrhoids. And I did use cypress and geranium for hemorrhoids at that time, definitely reduced. So we're just talking making like a coconut oil mixture with a couple drops of the cypress and geranium, and just having something to kind of keep things soft after everything's washed up. And it's really surprising how fast that would take away all the burning and the itching and the yuckiness, just, the bad feelings from extra pressure that was distributed oddly on all those lower sitting portions of my body. So, so I would say, yeah, for that, that's going to be like one of the biggest ones, and the sore muscles. Marjoram is also a huge, huge favorite. It's not expensive for sore muscles, but very high impact. So I would say like Aroma Touch, marjoram, geranium, because geranium also is good for, if you guys ever get that like dry skin from all that belly that's stretching and the skin that just feels like it's itchy and wants to break as it's trying to make room for a bigger baby. Geranium is one of my absolute favorites for that, for skin health in general. Anything, anytime I would like to dilute that in some coconut oil, that always made a fabulous rub. I did find also prevented a lot of, scarring and things like that from some of the stretches. Wish I'd known that my first and second pregnancy. I didn't know, but rum and chamomile, lavender, and sandalwood are also really great for skin stretching kind of a stuff. So those may be ones that you want to keep in the back of your mind. I just wanted to mention, these couple of things that, even if you're on a tight budget and you're struggling with deciding what to purchase to be able to support your pregnancy, Aroma Touch, geranium, marjoram would probably be like some of my top three. And then anything along the lines of, like a deep blue or a past tense or a peppermint would be fine. Especially if you typically get headaches or things like that anyway, that would be a smart one to add to it. There are some really great things for sleep. I want to mention a couple specifically, just because I know one of my friends is having some difficulties with that. Most people automatically turn to either lavender or serenity, which serenity is a great blend that has rum and chamomile, vetiver, marjoram, and I forget what else, sandalwood maybe, can't remember, but it has it all mixed in. So that's really awesome. And I would say it is typical for there to be like nightmares, just because of like never going into that super restful state, because movement in babies, like sphere of influence is causing just a little bit more wakefulness than typical. You're going to be surprised, but I'm going to actually recommend Melaleuca, either on your heart or up and down your spine. I feel like this really helps get rid of some of the emotional, it just seems like it doesn't allow the emotions from the past to affect where you are right then. It's really great at creating those boundaries almost instantly. And then if there are issues that are causing the nightmare type things to keep coming up, that definitely gets slowed down. So that along the spine or over the heart would be a great way. Apparently my kiddos just came home, so I hear my kiddos singing. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. I also am going to say, a huge deal for me during my very first pregnancy. Hey, mommy's doing a recording. You need to stay out, okay? Close the door. That's really cool. That's really cool. Go ahead out. Okay. Fluid retention was a crazy big deal for me. The edema was awful. Like, it really was hard to walk. Even my Crocs were like nearly splitting. And if I had known that just adding a little bit of lemon to my water on a regular basis, and certainly during my third pregnancy, I had a lot of things that I used. Number one, to mitigate all of the group B strep issues that I'd had during my first and second. Not an issue there. I was able to have my midwife do 2 tests to make sure that it wasn't an issue, because I was really supporting my body with the probiotics. And then I also had a specific blend, and off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was very I feel like it was something like On Guard, oregano, melaleuca, and I forget, like frankincense maybe. Maybe it was something like the flume. I may have to look that one up because I know I have it written down. But a lot of those kinds of things, along with my fluid retention never became as much of an issue during my third pregnancy the way it was during my first or second. I just didn't let it get to that stage to where it was like making it hard for me to walk, and I was like all bubbled up and, looked like I had a huge neck and everything. So, so some lemon in the water all in the pregnancy is so supportive. And I think the one other thing was leg cramps, that I didn't really have so much an issue during my third pregnancy the way it was for my first and second. I do love some transdermal magnesium spray along my legs that really helps. But I also feel like there's some of the nutrients in the Lifelong Vitality supplements, that are my prenatal vitamins, that was way, just preventative maintenance, so to speak, on that realm. Okay, hope all those were really helpful for you for third trimester pregnancy ideas. I am definitely happy to keep in touch with you guys. I have a couple, bits of information that I got mostly from, if you guys want to look up her name. Hey, that's great, sweetie. I'm doing recording. I can check with you in a minute. So it's called Essential Pregnancy, and it's by Stephanie Fritz. I've lent out this core book. Brittany, if you're watching, I'm not mad that we didn't get this taken back to me, and your baby's beautiful. So, but I've probably lent this book out to 6 or 7 ladies over the past few years, and each of them has found like a lot of really great support from it. So the name of the book again is Essential Oils for Pregnancy, Birth, and Babies, and Stephanie Fritz says Fritz. That's who is the author. You guys would definitely want to check that out. And again, always when you're talking about using essential oils for a therapeutic benefit, you're going to look for the most tested, most trusted. That is going to be doTERRA. That's not going to change. It's going to get more tested and more trusted as we keep going. In fact, that leads me to my next second to last announcement, and that is there is a webinar going on tonight that is specifically designed for people in the healthcare field. That would include anyone from chiropractors, masseuse, all the way to DO, MD, what else is there? Acupuncturists, dentists, really nurses, all people who are there who have a certain way of thinking and understanding because of their training or because that they just happen to be more scientifically minded. You will probably enjoy the short, it's just a little 45-minute webinar tonight. It starts at 9 p.m. That's Orlando time. So if you're central, you'll have to start it at 8. I'm posting a link in the notes section. I can't remember what that's called at the moment. So, but the link is there, and there's just more and more information that is getting into the medical field about essential oils and being able to use them complementary with conventional medicine. And doTERRA is the only company that is making that headway taking on the medical world to say, if you wanted these tests so that you know what the half-life is for these certain things, the way you understand them for prescriptions, this is what that looks like. So doTERRA is the only one who's doing that. And so tonight there happens to be just a very short little webinar, 45-minute thing that my dear sweet friend Julie Yelnick is doing. She and I got very connected doing a community service trip together to Nicaragua to a holistic health clinic. And we had this idea to be able to specifically give doctors or people in the healthcare field a personal experience by sending them some samples for them to use for themselves, whether that be for a stressful life like most of the doctors would have, or sleep issues or whatever, but they would get to have an experience and then have this short webinar to kind of introduce them to some of the main ideas about essential oils in the healthcare field. So jump on that. And the last thing is, before I jump off, if you are already a doTERRA wholesale customer, and you have your account, then you probably already know how awesome this little dealio is to get a free Copaiba, which I use daily. Think everything that you've heard about CBD times 10 for the benefits, and like -8 for the drawbacks, being expensive and slightly hallucinogenic and needing way much more quantity than is financially reasonable to get an actual benefit from CBD. So none of those kinds of issues, but Copaiba is fantastic for neural pathway things, for all sorts of pain, definitely for anxiety, all those anxious feelings, I guess I should say. So we have it in soft gel form and in regular essential oil, which makes it really easy to add to all sorts of other mixes. This would be probably #1 over all of the other things that I had mentioned. Super amazing support for pregnancy, because it is what's called an accentuator. So whatever the other essential oils are supposed to be doing, Copaiba, similar to frankincense but less expensive, Copaiba is able to enhance those effects. You definitely want that. And also yellow mandarin is a brand new one. And so these 3 are free, totally free, $84, $86 value when you buy 200 PV worth. And if you guys need some ideas about how to address specific issues in your life that you struggle with on a regular basis, I would like to be able to recommend certain essential oils or certain protocols for those issues. I would love for you to get a hold of me through email. It's enamoredwithnature@gmail.com. Or if you're already part of my Enamored with Nature Oil Education Facebook group, that would be another way you could reach out to me. If I'm not the one who introduced you to essential oils, I hope you go to the person who did, and that you'll have that long-term care, long-term relationship and support from. But those would be like my main big deals as my Amanda Answers Thursdays deal. So post in the comments if you have any other issues, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye, Village. Have a good day.